Hi, everyone. So excited to share with you Dimensional Bloom. This is a painting that has a lot of layered meaning. It's more of like a bigger picture kind of channel painting that I did later last year. And with it, the Merkaba, or this sacred geometry symbol, kept coming through. And so this was like this was one of the first times that it had come through so strongly. And it was about how our energetic systems within the human being is shifting. And so partly that's why everyone's waking up. And when I say waking up, what that looks like in a human way is like it's kind of chaotic because we're starting to become aware of things that we weren't necessarily aware of before, feelings, thoughts. And so everything's kind of feels like it's crumbling even within us. And I know outside in the world's kind of crazy. And that's a mirror of what's happening within us. So dimensional bloom is this kind of awakening, but like on a kind of almost universal scale, because this nebula that's kind of behind this symbol, which is the symbol of our Merkaba, and our Merkaba is our energetic system. So kind of like the energetic system that's holding our soul. And then as the wavelength kind of gets slower and slower and slower, we have this physical reality, material reality, but we're so much bigger than the slow wavelength of this material reality. And this is the Merkaba that kind of represents that, this kind of system of how we're souls in a human being. And this universe or nebula kind of energy is showing us that this awakening that's happening in our energetic system is actually stemming from help and an integration of an energy that's beyond our solar system. It's kind of like it is always meant to happen now, like how our galaxy is spinning, like how the Milky Way galaxy is spinning. We now actually have access to different lights and frequencies that we didn't have access to before. So that's part of the reason. That's part of the meaning behind this painting, is what they said, anyways. And the Merkaba is showing you these two spheres down below. It's like duality, black and white thinking, almost animalistic thinking. We're moving beyond that. That's part of the paradigm. That's part of the new earth energy, and moving beyond the polarity or duality and moving into dimensional bloom. So dimensionally, we're experiencing an expansion, because if things are not black and white and it's gray, but it's not just gray anymore. We can understand that intellectually it's actually the rainbow, and that's that other sphere here of like up above. It's like, so when we move out of this duality, we kind of move into this other higher dimensional plane of an awareness of light, of love, of our emotional beings, of our spiritual being, of our creative being. Like, we have all of these parts that we're meant to integrate. We're not thinking beings, we're actually feeling beings. We're not our heads, we're actually our heart space. Our heart space is the most multidimensional aspect of our being. Our head, though it has somewhat of an electromagnetic wave, our heart is like 100 times stronger. And that's where we're supposed to kind of root, not here. And so we're moving out of this black and white into our head space, moving us back into our heart. This is the fear-based system. This is the grounding in light. And so this painting talks about that process from a very big picture. And when we do that, when we start moving from our heads to our hearts, and start integrating and becoming aware of all of our parts. And believe me, that can be overwhelming sometimes. I know. And so we just have to slow down and keep showing up and being present with the fear, with the parts of ourselves that are arising. And that takes practice, and that takes a nurturing, a love of self, and a remembrance of the divine feminine, of really learning how to love ourselves. And when we do that, that's where these birds start emerging. Now, the birds are symbolic of things we don't understand yet because they're silhouetted. So, not that they're hidden from us, but it's like, in some ways, I can't describe to you what happens when you actually start aligning with your heart. And the birds represent expressions of that. And it's so unique for every individual, you know? Because you start understanding your joy and who you truly are, and remembering the light that you are, and your perception begins to change, and you start understanding the connection that we have with all things. That's what happens when you really love yourself. I mean, it's profound. not in a selfish way, but in a one unity way, like I am you and you are me. And the expression of the birds of what the potentially your gifts that begin to expand, your intelligence begins to expand, your a healing ability of being able to root in light and love and heal your own body becomes more attainable. Those are just some of the birds that can kind of come into fruition for you. So dimensional bloom, moving out of that two-dimensional being and moving into more of a fourth, fifth dimensional expansion of self. Sending you so much love.